For some reason, there's a subset of our population that does not understand that blunt force trauma can cause bodily harm. So, thank you, crazy people of the world, for putting a Creative Commons license on stuff like this so I can tell people, don't do that. Diabetes type 2, not that different from blunt force trauma. Most of us, at least those of us with at least half a brain in our head, realize trauma can forever damage the body. Cut off a finger or toe, it doesn't grow back. Most of us get that. Unfortunately, the availability of easily digestible food causes trauma-like harm to the pancreas. To understand the function of the pancreas, you must first understand a small amount of anatomy and physiology about the gastrointestinal system. Food enters the gastrointestinal system at the mouth, and immediately digestive enzymes start breaking it down. The food makes its way down the esophagus to the stomach, and from the stomach into the small intestine, where much of the caloric absorption occurs. Absorption, fancy word for taking the energy from here and putting it here. Most of the food that we eat is carbohydrate, but carbohydrates make you fat. No. Carbohydrates get a bad rap. Broccoli is a carbohydrate. Carrots are carbohydrates. Spinach is a carbohydrate. However, some carbohydrates can be dangerous. We hear a lot about the glycemic index. I really wish they would call it the digestibility spectrum. Some carbohydrates are digested quickly. Other carbohydrates are digested slowly. Every carbohydrate falls somewhere on the spectrum of easy to digest to hard to digest. The glycemic index is nothing more than a scale that tells us how quickly the gastrointestinal system can digest specific foods. When foods are digested quickly, the energy here quickly gets into here. Lots and lots of energy in the blood. Surely that's a good thing. No, it is not a good thing. When there's a lot of energy in the blood, it causes hyperglycemic hyperosmolar syndrome, where the blood becomes thick and it makes it difficult for the heart to circulate it throughout the body. Thus, the body needs a mechanism to get the excess energy out of the blood. That's where the pancreas comes into play. The pancreas is an organ that is just inferior to the stomach. Its primary responsibility is to produce and to release insulin. Insulin is a key that has the ability to unlock cells so that energy can be utilized by them or stored in them. All cells do stuff. Muscle cells contract, brain cells think, skin cells create melanin, and liver cells create alcohol dehydrogenase. I'll let you look that one up. Every cell in your body needs energy to do whatever the heck it is that it's supposed to do based upon where it is in your body. And insulin allows the necessary energy to make its way from the blood into the cell. So the cell will have the energy to do whatever the heck it's supposed to do. However, sometimes the cells are already full of energy. I wonder why all the cells might already have all the energy that they need. Interestingly, fat cells don't fill up easily. Every time the pancreas releases insulin, it serves as a signal to cells, including fat cells, to accept more energy. If most cells in the body are already full of energy, the fat cells are going to be forced to accept that extra energy. The more easily digestible carbohydrate, aka sugar, that goes in here, the more energy that ends up getting stored in the fat cells. So, how much sugar do Americans eat, and how much collective stress is being put on their pancreases? Well, in 1986, only 7 states had more than 10% of their population suffering from obesity, and not a single state had more than 15% of its population in the obese category. By 1994, every state had at least 15% of its population falling in the obese category, and 15 states had more than 15% of their population falling in the obese category. By 2002, the trend continued. And most recently, in 2010, every state in the union had more than 20% of its population in the obese category, and 12 states had more than 30% of their population suffering from obesity. So, we must ask, how much stress does the average American place on his or her pancreas? The data would suggest a lot. When you place that much stress on one organ, it's kind of like punching it in the face. If you expose the pancreas to blunt force trauma day after day after day by eating sugary food after sugary food after sugary food, it is going to eventually wear out. Once the pancreas is worn out, It no longer produces enough insulin, and the amount of energy in the blood is just going to stay elevated, causing that nasty condition I mentioned earlier, hyperglycemic hyperosmolar syndrome. Nasty thick blood. At this point in the disease progression, something very odd happens. The person suffering from diabetes starts losing weight. This occurs because there's no way for the blood sugar to make its way from the blood into the cells that need the energy. The body still does need energy, so it starts getting that energy from protein and fat, which causes the blood to become acidic. Not good. At this point, damage starts occurring to the organs, and in particular, vision and kidney function start to fail. Diabetes type 2 is really nothing more than an overuse injury of the pancreas that can be prevented by limiting the amount of sugar you eat. If you want to continue getting smarter with us about your personal health and wellness, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter.